To begin the pineapple cable stitch, you want to begin with a slip knot on the hook. You can accomplish this in any method that you prefer. Once you have that tightened down, the pineapple cable stitch is worked in multiples of 19 plus 4 if you want a 2-stitch border on either side. So I'm going to go ahead and chain 24. That will give me 23 stitches for the sample with 1 extra chain for my turning chain. Once you have 24 chains, we're going to begin row 1 by placing a single crochet in every chain across with the exception of the very first one. So you want to begin in the second chain from the hook, not counting the loop on the hook. Count over 1, 2, insert your hook into that chain and complete a single crochet. You're going to do that in every chain across for a total of 23 single crochets. Go ahead and pause the video here, finish row 1, and then we will move on to row 2. Once you have completed 23 single crochets into the foundation chain, this is what row 1 should look like. So now we're going to move on to row 2. Go ahead and chain 1 and then turn your work. You are now looking at the wrong side of the work. And for row 2, we're going to place a half double crochet in each single crochet from row 1. So half double crochet is yarn over, insert the hook into the very first stitch, which is the same stitch as the beginning chain, pull up a loop, yarn over, and pull through all 3. You're going to insert a half double crochet in each stitch across for row 2. Go ahead and pause the video here, and when you're finished with row 2, we will move on to row 3. At the end of row 2, this is what your work should look like. So to begin row 3, we're going to go ahead and chain 1 and turn the work. And we're going to start off with 5 half double crochets at the beginning of this row, starting in the first half double crochet at the base of the turning chain. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now we're going to work our first set of cables. Now, row 3 is tricky in order to get the placement of your cables right, but once you have that first row of cables, it gets easier from there. So we're actually going to be working into row 1 around the single crochet posts. For the first set of cables, we want them to lean to the right, so we're going to skip ahead 2 stitches. First, I'm going to yarn over twice because we're going to be completing a treble crochet stitch. Then I'm going to be skipping 2 stitches, 1, 2, and then follow that next stitch straight down into row 1, and you're going to be working around that single crochet post. So basically, you're skipping 2 single crochets from row 1 that line up with the stitches on the main row, and you're going to work a treble crochet stitch around the post of this single crochet. All right, I've already yarned over, so I'm going to insert the hook down beside that stitch on the right side, behind it, and back up on the left. And you can see my hook is behind that single crochet post from row 1. Now I'm going to pull up a loop in that space and complete a treble crochet, which is a yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So that is your first cable stitch. Now we're going to do 2 more just like that around the next 2 single crochets from row 1. So yarn over twice and go down beside the next single crochet post, behind it and back up the other side, pull up a loop in that space, and complete your treble crochet. Yarn over, pull through 2 until you have 1 loop left on the hook. All right, and 1 more time around the next single crochet post from row 1. Okay, we've just completed our first set of cables, and they should lean to the right. Now to continue, you're going to have to turn the work so that you can see that main row. You want to leave 3 stitches unworked here to account for the 3 stitches that you just worked into row 1. So you can see that right here is the last stitch we worked into. So I'm going to skip the next 3. 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to be working a half double crochet into this next stitch right here. So yarn over and half double crochet into that next stitch. Then to continue, we're going to do 6 more half double crochet for a total of 7 in between sets of cables. 6, 7. Now we're going to work another set of cables, but this time we want them to lean to the left, which means that instead of skipping ahead 2 stitches, we'll be counting backwards 2 stitches. So go ahead and yarn over twice, since we'll be completing a treble crochet. You want to count back 2 stitches, 1, 2, follow that stitch straight down into row 1, and find the corresponding single crochet, which is right here. So we're going to be going around that post. I'm going to go down beside it on the right, behind it, and back up on the left. Pull up a loop in that space and complete your treble crochet. Yarn over and pull through 2 loops until you have 1 left. That's your first left leaning cable. So now we're going to do 2 more, yarn over twice, and go around that very next single crochet post from row 1. Complete your treble crochet stitch. Yarn over twice and do 1 more around the very next single crochet post. And this is what your second set of cables should look like. So now again, we're going to turn the work a little bit so that we can see that main row that we're on. This is the last stitch that we worked into right here, so I'm going to skip the next 3 to account for these 3 treble crochets that I did into row 1. 1, 2, 3, so this is going to be the next stitch I work into right here. So yarn over, half double crochet into that stitch, and into the next 4 to complete the row. And that completes row 3. So now to begin row 4, we're going to go ahead and chain 1 and turn. Now we're going to continue this pattern with a little bit of a different stitch count so that we can keep our cables leaning. So instead of 5 half double crochets to begin the row, we're only going to do 4. So we're going to yarn over, place a half double crochet in the same stitch as the turning chain, and in the next 3. Okay, so essentially we're skipping a stitch, we're skipping this half double crochet right here, and then we're going to go ahead and work our treble post stitches. Now from here on it gets easier because you can already see the posts. We no longer have to find the spot to work them around. So go ahead and yarn over twice, and you're going to go behind that very first treble crochet post stitch from the first row. All right, I'm going to do that again. You insert the hook from the wrong side of the work up towards you. It's actually the right side of the work, but it's the wrong side from where you're facing. Up towards you, in front of the post, and then back down so that your hook is worked around that post. Then you want to pull up a loop in that space and complete your treble crochet as normal. All right, let's look at that again. Yarn over twice. You want to insert the hook from the back side of the work up towards you, around the front of that post, and then back down. Pull up a loop and complete the stitch. Do that one more time around the last treble post stitch. To continue on, we're going to skip 3 stitches on the main row to account for those 3 treble stitches that we just did. So 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to go into this next stitch right here. I'm going to work a half double crochet into that stitch. And in the next 8, there should be a total of 9 half double crochets in the middle of this section. When you get over here, make sure that you're putting your half double crochet into the treble stitches and not down here on this half double crochet row. So you're actually going to work one of your stitches into a treble post stitch from the previous row. Okay, so you should have 9 half double crochets in the middle now. And now we're going to work our 3 treble post stitches around these first 3 treble posts. So yarn over twice, and you kind of have to turn the work where you can see it. You're going to insert the hook from this side of the post, behind it, and back up. Now again, I've turned it where you can see it. Let me do that one more time. I've yarned over twice, turn the work around where you can see your posts, insert the hook from your right, behind the post, and up on your left. Pull up a loop on that space, and then complete your treble stitch. Then you're going to do that 2 more times around the next 2 posts. Yarn over twice, go behind the post from right to left. Okay, now to complete the row, skip 3 stitches on the main row, 1, 2, 3, and begin working into the next stitch. And you're going to do 4 half double crochets to complete the row. 3 and 4. Oops. Goodness. Okay, and that completes row 4. So now we're going to go ahead and chain 1 and turn. And you can see the design starting to build. You should have 1 set of cables leaning to the right and 1 set of cables leaning to the left. So we're going to continue on now with the next row, which is row 5, I believe. So to begin row 5, we're only going to do 3 half double crochets. Alright, and then we're going to do our next sequence of post stitches around our 3 post stitches from previous rows. So yarn over twice, go behind that post, complete a treble stitch, and do that 2 more times. Okay, to continue the row, make sure that you're skipping 3 stitches on the main row, and it can get tricky to see sometimes. Make sure that you get a visual on the last stitch that you went into and start counting from there. So 1, 2, 3, this will be my next stitch right here. Half double crochet into that, and in the next 10. We need a total of 11 half double crochets in this section. The last one will be worked into the top of your last post stitch. Okay, now we're gonna work a sequence of 3 post stitches around these 3 posts. So yarn over twice, behind the post, complete a treble crochet, and do the same for the next 2. Again, skip 3 stitches on the main row. This is the last stitch I went into, so I'm going to start counting here. 1, 2, 3, and this will be the first stitch I work back into, and you should have a total of 3 half double crochets to finish the row. And that is what row 5 should look like.